Hello, Martin here from Primary Tools. Welcome to a run through of one of the test analysis tools where we're going to explain the main features and give you some tips on how to use the sheets and how to get the most out of them. When you first open it, you'll come to the menu screen. For this example, we're using the Phonics 2019 analysis. The Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 versions have more charts and a couple more features, but we're using the Phonics analysis as it's the simplest one we have, and so best for the demonstration. The only thing you can really change on this screen is the threshold score. It's always been 32 for Phonics, so we'll leave it as it is. Most of the sheets should explain themselves, but we're just going to cover the things that might need a little more explanation. But do drop us an email if you need any, if you've got any further questions. This is the data input sheet. We're using sample data here for just 12 pupils, although it can take up to 500. Now the instructions here show you what to do. Put 1 in for a correct answer, 0 for an incorrect answer, and blank if it was not attempted. The latter is more useful for the time test, like the ones for Key Stage 2, and it'll give you an indication of who needs to work on pace as well as the quality of their responses. The key here just gives an explanation of our codes that we use, and this sheet is mainly intended for data input, but you can begin to analyze by using the filters. If we look at this question for Peel, if you select 0, it'll show you the children that didn't answer this question correctly. Just going to bring that all back. Now, we know that data input is quite a laborious job, so you might want to use this where you put in a 1, drag across, and then drag down. And then all you need to do is put in a 0 or use the delete button for any questions that weren't answered. And that just might save you a little bit of time. So just fill it with the 1s and then delete. If you want to delete rows, try to avoid selecting the rows here, using the row numbers. What you should do instead is select the cells without using the row numbers and then pressing delete. That'll tidy things up for you. And just another note for this sheet and the next sheet that I'll show you is that because there's 500 children, you can use this for 500 children. If you printed this off, it would print off a lot of pages. So just be careful when you're printing to save paper. Okay. Right, moving on to the pupil summary. So this is the first of the main sheets to use for analyzing the data. It lists the pupils down here, their overall scores. Okay, and then also for the phonics, we split each question into words which use simple consonants and vowels, consonant digraphs and vowel digraphs, and so on. The Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 versions are categorized using the assessment frameworks, but we've done this one for the phonics. So you can, as before, use the filters to help you see the scores that you want to see. The only other thing you can do here is change the colors. So it's set as 80% for the phonics to be green because that matches the 32 out of 40 for the phonics check. But if you're doing this in early spring, perhaps you might want to lower the colors. So if you put 60 in there, you'll see that the colors change. And similarly for amber, you might want to adjust that as well. Okay. You can also, if you like, go back to the welcome screen and adjust the threshold there. That's another way of doing it. Okay, so moving on to the pupil report. So this is for individual pupils. It's available for all versions since 2017. It's mostly self-explanatory, so we're just going to go down to the second page here. So this page lists each question and it's grouped by the type of question. So the first ones are the CVC questions, the next ones are the consonant digraphs and so on. And it will color code them based on whether the questions were correct or incorrect. Sometimes you might find that you can't select the names here. The reason is that this cell is highlighted, which turns off the standard. So if you don't want to print the standard, just turn it off. So to resolve the problem, click on a name first, and then it should give you access to the names. So this is pupil D. And you can see that pupil D is pretty good on their CVC words, but there's a large amount of red here, big area red. A suggestion would be for this child to work on their vowel digraphs. Okay, and if you go down again, you can see that this page is updated. This is the vowel digraph section, and you can see the words where they've struggled. Okay. So moving on from looking at an individual pupil to your whole cohort, this is the cohort summary. Looking at this sheet really helps you target your teaching and planning for the whole group. Looking at the percentages at the top, the first impression is that it gives you is that you might need to target split digraphs. However, the chart here might give you will give you suggest a different strategy. Now, the reason that you can see that there's a large amount of red here for vowel digraphs compared to split digraphs, and that's because there were more questions for vowel digraphs than split digraphs. So the chart is suggesting that you should focus on vowel digraphs at the moment as a group. Putting it more simply, the larger the red area here, the better potential gains that you'll have in the future if you focus on that area. Again, staying with the whole cohort, this chart goes into a bit more detail. We're still looking at the whole cohort, but this chart orders all the words or questions by how well they were answered. So all of these were answered correctly by all children, but then we move down the chart, and this is where the questions that were incorrectly answered. So you can see that no children were able to answer or read the word scrapes, and thankful also was a tricky one for the children. Now we already identified that vowel digraphs was an area to perhaps focus on. This chart is similar to the last one, but instead it groups the questions in terms of their area. So you can see all the vowel digraphs here, and that the word trails was the most tricky one, spraw and fried as well. So you might want to spend a lesson covering the A sound, the O sound, and the I sound. Okay, so that's it for this quick explanation. It covers the main points of the sheets. Now the tools have been used in hundreds of schools for Key Stage 1 and 2 analysis. We'd love your feedback. If you've got any further questions, then again, just drop us an email.